Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Monday, October 31st, Halloween. The year is 2022. Let's talk trading. Patience versus quickness with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. Walmal, I was looking at some other trading videos, and they were, talking about patience. And, we've talked about, waiting for the trade, but when the time comes, you have to be quick. And I think some people confuse, it's like, well, how can you do both? And it's like you have to be like that cheetah or gazelle, you know. It's like the cheetah will wait and wait and wait, and then when it's time to strike, it's lightning quick. And I think you have to be like that in trading.
Yeah, I think you're right, and there's so many factors that play into that, but I think you're exactly right, the whole thing, I want to go and talk about patience for a second, and I'll comment on what you just said, but, patience, the idea that as a virtue, it came into, we started calling it a virtue, at least the English-speaking world started calling it a virtue somewhere around, if my history is correct, 12 or 1300. The year is 1200, 1300, something like that. And it came out actually through a lot of great English poets of the time, and they talked about the need for patience, and they were trying to teach people that, just because there's an opportunity in front of you doesn't mean that you necessarily jump on it. No, you got to have the patience of actually waiting for the right opportunity, and then then you jump on it. And I think there's a lot of truth to that in FOREX. It's so easy to get suckered in. You're sitting there, you see, when people talk about price action, look at that price, it's dropping like a rock. I got to get in. I got to get mine. That fear of missing out, all those things that we talk about. And the next thing you know, you jump in, and then you get stopped out, and then you have this total, rejection. You've been literally slapped in the face. All those people made money, and I'm just a loser.
Yeah, I've just taken 3 losses in a row, but it's like the first one was my fault. I wasn't quick to take a pip. The second one, I jumped back in, so that was just a total bonehead move. And then the third one, the same thing happened. I had a chance to take a pip and didn't do it. So.
Yeah, and that's what happens sometimes, and you got to, this, I know a lot of people, and it's marketing, and it's these guys that are out there just trying to sell these wonderful systems that will make you a millionaire in 3 weeks or less, but you know who I'm talking about. You get the emails every day like I do, I'm sure, and probably most of the traders out there do as well, and it's just like, if you just go and do this, you'll make $1 million, but the reality of all it is just simply this. You got to sit there, you got to go and analyze the market, you got to go and do your work ahead of time, and for, TRL, for you and for me, what that means, because we're statistical traders, that means going out, looking for that edge, looking at statistics, saying, okay, this is, if I do this, I will statistically have an edge over the market. Doesn't mean I'm going to win every trade. You took 3 losses today. One of them was your fault, and the other 2 was just, hey, it just,
Well, they all were my fault, because instead of, and what happened was it got into the launch pad, and I'm looking for the big launch, and the big launch didn't happen.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that, it just could be, well, I'm saying that those other 2 may not be your fault in the sense that, statistically you did what you were supposed to do, but it just didn't work out,
Right.
And then maybe your fault is you didn't get out when you should have gotten out, and that's that quickness thing again. Everybody thinks quickness, everybody thinks, methodology. Methodology means when you get into a trade. And I'll say it again, over and over again, and that is that, the reality, your method has to be more than getting into the trade. It's also got to be your plan to get out of the trade. By the way, we're at the low of the day.
Yeah.
In case I just noticed that on my chart, but and that's the thing. You just got to go and sit there. Figure out what your plan is. Do your analysis. Write out your plan as to how you're going to get into a trade, and just as importantly, write out your plan how you're going to get out of a trade. How are you going to get out if it goes against you? How are you going to get out if it goes in your direction? I had at the beginning of the day today. That was a type of thing where I went into a trade. My plan said, okay, you're in the trade. It went up pretty good. This is a good place to stack in. So I stacked in, and basically I got out of the trade. And after 2 trades, I was done for the day. I had made all my money that I needed to make for the day, and only had to take 2 trades today. Very, very unusual for me, because normally, it takes, 10, 15, 20 trades sometimes to go and make it, But today was a beautiful day. But here's the thing. If I did not follow my exit plan, and actually follow it and do what I did, I could have taken that, really nice day and turned it into a pretty crappy day pretty quickly, because price, turned around, went right back to where my entry point was. And if I had taken that stack on, and I didn't get out at that where my exit plan said to get out, I could actually have taken a really nice day and turned it into a losing day. And that's that quickness part of it. I think you got to have the plan in place, and you got to go and be able to react to it. I know that I say this all the time. You should have index cards telling you what to do, and having it all laid out in front of you. And I do. Okay, but the reality is, those index cards should be ingrained into your brain so well. Okay, that you don't need to look at them. They're there as a reminder to you.
Yeah,
okay?
but you don't need to, but you should. That's like being an airline pilot,
Exactly.
or any pilot. You don't need them, but you're going to use them, because you'd be foolish. You're going to be foolish not to.
That's right, and it's there. It's you have that. It's sort of like you go, if you watch the NFL on Sunday. You watch the NFL, you watch these, the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, and you watch them on the sideline. Every one of them has got one in their hand.
Their playbook,
board, right?
Their playbook, yeah.
Right.
Usually on a laminated sheet.
Exactly. And they wrote the playbook. If anybody knows it, it's them, Yet they still have it, because, it's sort of like they'll look down on it real quick and sort of like remind them. Okay, they may not have to look at all the details because it's so ingrained in them, but they certainly look down and say, "Oh yeah, that's right. That guy swings right. That guy got, that guy does this. That guy does that." And they got it in their brain. And if for some reason somebody comes to the sideline, they'll go and relay that to them, and remind it. They may even scream it across the field. I mean, I had a coach in high school. That's what he would do. He'd scream it across the field what you're supposed to be doing. He didn't care that the other team heard it. Because sort of like more times than not, the other team may hear it, but may not know how to go and react to it.
Right. It's too late. They've already called their play.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Larry Bird films lately, and Larry Bird, great basketball player from the Boston Celtics, and probably the inventor of trash talk on the court. He was just unbelievable how much of a trash talker he was. But one of the things that he used to do to get into people's heads, we're not talking about like, average guys. We're talking about doing this to like people like Michael Jordan. He'd go out there and he'd say, hey, Mike, he called him Mickey. He said, hey, Mickey, I'm going over here. I'm going to spin on you, take a step back, and put it in over your head with 1 second left on the clock, and then turn around and do it, But the thing is, my point of telling that story is that, Larry Bird knew exactly what the play was, but they still went over to the sideline, and they still talked to coach, and they still laid it out so that they had it all in front of them. And then when it came time to execute, they were extremely quick on it. They were like that leopard that you talked about in the beginning of the video.
Cheetah,
The cheetah, you still got to go and pounce.
And speaking of that, we just broke through previous day's low.
Yeah, that would have been nice little trade there. it busted it pretty good. So.
Oh, well, on my chart, it only broke it by about a pip and a half.
Oh, mine. Oh, okay. Mine is broken by about 8 pips. So difference in brokers, sir.
Yes, difference in brokers.
But in any case, you got to go out there. Getting back to the subject, you got to have that plan in place. You got to know that plan so well, because you can look down at the card. It can remind you of what you're going to do, and that's your checklist. But then once you're in the middle of it, you may not have time to look back down at that card. You may have to just go and do it. So make it part of it. Make it part of you. And there's only one way to do that. That's to go and do it and practice and go and do it. That's the only way you can do it. And you have to go and sort of be like that robot and be emotionless in this, in the sense that, things are not going to go by plan. They're when you play a basketball game, right? The reality is, when you're playing out there, it's not just you making decisions, okay? And it's not just your skill level. You got the guy playing against your skill level. You got the referees out there who can go and make good calls, bad calls. You got the crowd that's going to influence things. You got all these other factors. Well, in trading, it's the same way. It's not just you. Okay?
Yeah,
and
I
that's
know.
why you got to play this all out.
Yeah, and I just put the H1 chart up and showed the Walmal lines, and that break, across the 40, that would have been worth a lot of pips, over 30 pips.
Oh yeah,
Almost 40 pip move to the downside.
yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing. That was the trade, right?
Right. So now we're at top of the hour. So short at 00 and long at 10.
And the thing is, are you going to go and do it? The reality is that, I'm sitting here looking at this, and, I'm looking at a down day. We've got 111 pips for the day, which seems like a lot, but for, the last couple of weeks, it's not. We got the 00 that's right below us. What is it going to do when it hits that 00? Well, if it breaks the 00, it likes to go to 95 at a minimum.
Yeah.
And then it'll struggle there, and then it'll either come right back up and cross the 00 again, or it will continue on down into somewhere down in the 1400 range. But I don't know what it's going to do. All I know is I can just go and, based on what my plan is, react to what it does and follow through, both on the entry and on the exit.
Right. So we're coming back down, and on the day range, let's see, we've got 112, and Friday was 119, Thursday was 96, but then we go into the 200s before that.
And here we go. We're down to that 90, down to that 95 level. Yep, I just hit 96.
I got a low of 96.4, yeah.
And so it's going to go right down. It'll probably touch like 95.5 or something like that. If it only gets down to 96.4 like it did on yours, that's pretty close to 95 for me. But the point is, if it broke, I said it, when it breaks through that 00, it's going to go down to that 95 area.
And
well, that would have been a nice, easy 3-4 pips to pick up.
Yeah. And the thing is, once again, you wait, you act, and you act quickly, because right now it's bounced right back up to 1503.
Exactly right. And if you recall what I said just literally a minute or two ago, not even that long ago, once it gets down there, it's going to struggle at that 95 level, and then it'll make a decision whether it's going to continue down or it's going to come back up. So what do I do? How do I play that? The way I play it is, I go in, I get my 3 or 4 pips, I get out.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's talking about getting out. The fastest 15 minutes in trading is up once again. So, boys and girls and non-binary traders, when you're trading, remember, wait, be patient, and then when it's time to act, be quick, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.